All right, so we'll go ahead and do our official kickoff. Welcome everyone to our weekly VC. I know it's a little bit past 8, but I appreciate everyone for being here. And I'm in both our DAO VC chat as well as the Portals chat. So if people do ask questions, I'll try and repeat them. That way, the folks on the other side can hear them and go through it that way. This is being recorded. I'll throw it up on YouTube. Hopefully, hopefully in less than I think 6 weeks was what I had caught up on. 5 weeks. But yeah, definitely will make sure to get these out up there a bit quicker. But yeah, just jumping into it. I mean, we've had such an awesome week. So, first off, and I know I said it earlier, but more folks had joined in here, but just a huge appreciation for the community and such. We've had a ton of new people come in. You know, the market has been very interesting. It hasn't been the most beneficial, I will say, for majority of projects, but obviously we're significantly different from a majority of projects. So just a huge shout out to folks that have been answering questions, welcoming in new foxes, pointing them to resources and such, and just like being helpful. It's one of the awesome parts within our community. I mean, there's a sense of purpose, I think, for everyone that exists within our community, and that's really what I think we tend to embody with what we've created, which I think is pretty awesome. You know, it's different than I would say most other popular NFT projects for the better. But just a huge appreciation for everyone helping out. Things can get a little hectic time at times, and it's also 24/7, 365. So we have people joining from all over the world. I think that's pretty awesome and fun to like connect with people and find out where they're from. So just huge shout out for Foxes and for TFF's running up because of raffles and FFF kind of running up because we're awesome. Um, but but yeah, we'll kind of jump into product updates. I mean, definitely no shortage of updates, and I'm pretty stoked to kind of see how this week ends up turning out as well. So, starting off quality of life, quite a few updates. Raffle, we've done the ability for supporting sorting and filtering NFTs by floor prices. That was just asked for by folks of just kind of being curious as to like what the most expensive raffles are from like an NFT perspective, but it's floor based. And I have had people ask questions about, is there a way we can use basically like a floor price detector based off of a trait and going based off like the most rare trait for a specific NFT? I get worried about doing something like that, so just to kind of throw it out there for anyone that might ask a question like it, only because they get worried where if the floor price seems too high on the tickets and the floor price for the NFT is like significantly lower, for example, D gods with certain traits that they have, that people might not buy into it because of that ratio. Like a lot of people, I think, that jump into raffles look at that ratio to determine if that person's a potential scammer or not. And like my advice would be don't have your first raffle being like the most rare D God or Dead God and set it to like a crazy price. Like it's going to look like a scam, so people most likely won't participate in it, or they won't go like as heavy as they might if you have kind of a track record. And that can also be manipulated fairly easily, depending on how you're getting your price point for those specific traits. People can, if it's a rare trait, as an example, there's 10 of them in the collection, there might only be one listed at whatever price. They can easily just move that price to another. That's where I get worried with like certain products from other like DeFi NFT tools, but I don't want to go down that path in this conversation. But if people have questions about it, feel free to ask me. But just a way to kind of help people navigate within the raffle tool itself. We did also have profiles that show raffles purchased by the users. That was a huge ask that people have been asking us for, and it's been super helpful for both linked and non-linked Twitter profiles. especially for doing DD on raffles that are suspect. So yeah, so it's helpful for folks doing DD on a new raffler or something along those lines, just to determine if you want to get into raffles that they are creating or not, or to avoid them. Super, super, super helpful. And if people have any questions about it, definitely like ask. I'm more than happy to I would say give tips at least on doing DD for folks that are running raffles, because I think that's one of the best ways you can protect yourself from potential scams. I mean, at the end of the day, what I always go to is like the floor price to total ticket sales ratio. If that ratio is too high, like that should be like a red flag, but a red flag to at least do some DD on it. And that's kind of why talking about what I talked about earlier should hopefully make a little bit of sense. But if somebody's running a raffle that's for 25, 30, 40, maybe 50% profit, like that's probably fairly reasonable. I would still do DD on them, but if they're running 2, 3, 4, 5x, like you definitely want to do a deeper dive on that account prior to jumping into raffles. So definitely worth notes there, but I'm more than happy to also, kind of give whatever not financial advice I can to people that want to run raffles. And I think the last like actual raffle tool, quality of life, worth mentioning is the leaderboard badges. So we do have badges for the top 10 leaderboard creator, top 10 raffle creators from a volume standpoint. So anyone that's looking through there, it's by volume. And that little badge shows up now on the card for raffles that they've created. So as you're searching through the featured section or all raffles, they're going to show either in both or the other, it shows with that badge on it as well. So just to kind of help as you're kind of sorting through. Again, still do a level of DD to it unless you're familiar with the individual creator. I'll save our monthly raffle to the end because I think that's fun talking about at the end there. Um, oh, and I guess the other thing we did too is added historical stats to profiles, so that way you can go through and just check just the statistics themselves that were listed for those individual profiles. Let's see, Boombox. We got a couple updates for Boombox. First is now the an audio-visual category for MP4s, and what's worth mentioning for MP4s, I believe we're the only project so far that has upload capability for up to a gigabyte of file. I'm not sure if others have followed yet. I believe the recent cap, or the previous cap's 100 megs, but we were able to get up to 1 gigabyte or 1,000 meg files for MP4. So um, quite a large capacity to create within the MP4 realm. And we did also include activities per listing for Boombox. So now as you go into the your individual collection and individual pieces, you can see the activity per individual listing. Uh, Super helpful for going through to check like previous history and do a little bit of research, for pricing, speculation, and such for different individual pieces from artists. I think that's everything for Boombox. Foxy Mint, the print feature now also lets you download the editions mint list after minting, so that will help you send that over to get it to be tradable on an exchange. Um, so we've messed around with that tool just because there's been some questions from folks, from you know from folks that I wasn't really expecting to kind of like reach out to us, and we just want to make it like as simple as possible. So I think we'll probably run like maybe some spaces or something along the lines, maybe with some guests and stuff to go through, I think, some of our tools and a little bit more of like a deeper dive into like how to use them and leverage those tools for individual creators. I think what we offer, we have so much, and for as much as we like send out our Git book and tell people to like I'll look into things, do a little bit of research and like let us know if you have questions. I think there still is a big opportunity for us to provide additional information for tools. Foxy Mint probably being one of the largest that people I don't think are leveraging as much as they can. Uh, so so yeah, just want to kind of put that out there. So basically you can, create like editions, a limited amount of editions, and you can send them to holders from whatever address list you have. And that's kind of why we implemented or why we created Snapshot as well, so that way you can grab the whole list of holders, and within Snapshot you can determine if you want ones that include listings on escrow or include listings on exchanges. So, have the potential of grabbing the escrow wallets um, versus getting them as just holders without the individual escrow accounts. Let me load up portals again as well. Not sure how long ago I cut out in there, so sorry about that. But um, but that's just like one of the I would say more amazing tools so that I think people can leverage that they might just not be familiar with how it works. I had someone DM me of like, hey, I tried to grab a list of holders, but I got all the mint addresses, but that was because they're using the mint section on on Snapshot. And so there's like a mints and there's a holder section. So again, I think there's just like an educational piece that my goal is to be better at to make sure that people understand the tools a bit more and just to provide some more information about it because I think um, I think we're just like underutilized within this space and yeah, there's just such a huge value there that's being missed for people. We did also, we announced it today. We did a little bit of extra like DD into Marinade of just trying to figure out like their whole system. I know we've talked with them a few times, have kind of done some DD beforehand of throwing 1,000 Sol in to stake on their platform. But we like what we see there. I think they've got a really strong product with regard to decentralized staking for validators. So it's definitely worthwhile for folks that do stake into validators to at least check like your history and such on them and just to kind of understand like if you perhaps have missed rewards from the individual validators that you stake on for a variety of reasons. Um, but we've decided to put another 3,000 souls. So we got 4,000 total into Marinade, just to kind of support the validator systems. As crazy as it sounds, like we were talking about getting a validator spun up, and we'd have to get it like managed externally, just because it is a bit of work to do. Uh, like to break even, just so that folks know, and I know there's additional revenue streams that you can potentially get from it, but from like a back of the napkin like simple math side, right now it's about like 10,000 souls self-staked and about 50,000 aggregate from folks to get like pretty close to a break even, and that's assuming that you are voting. So there's like I think two per day that you end up doing. Um, but yeah, it's quite pricey right now, in my opinion, or in our opinion. So that's kind of why we're going the validator route. I think right now Marinade is supporting 460, 461 validators. So, it's just our way of really helping them out, be that additional 50-ish thousand soul. I know that's not exactly how much Marinade stakes in each individual one. I think on average it's between 16 and 19K soul per validator. So there still is, additional room that folks need to self stake in order to at least be break even, if not profitable after that. And there are other ways to kind of get allocations for it, but just worth throwing out there. Pretty stoked, in all honesty. And at the end of the day, it just helps us kind of grow a little bit too. Um, I think the rate is like 7, might be a little bit more than 7% right now. per year, so it's nothing gonna break the bank, but in a certain sense, you don't want it to be too high because inflation and pricing mismatches and all that fun stuff, like it won't be sustainable over a long period of time if it's much higher. So 7-ish% is pretty reasonable. And I think that's it for quality of life updates. I'll talk about the monthly raffle, I think, at the end of this, because that's one of the more fun things that we do in general. Um, Missions today went live. So as far as missions goes, if you did not get a chance to launch your missions, we have the pineapple raids, which I believe had launched, right? Yeah. So that filled up. I'm not sure how quickly that filled up because I don't have skin in the game with pineapple's hurt shirts. Um, but I know it certainly wasn't as quick as last week's or last raid with coat. But yeah, so Pineapple Shirt Raid is underway. For all the other missions, we've got Thug Life solo level 36 plus. We've got a duo for headsets level 34 plus. We then have a pirate level 35 plus and pirate den duo. We've got a red green sweater, so the gamer sweaters level 36 plus and an arcade den. Then we've got two Monster Trainer level 32 plus Monster Trainer Den. And then we've got three hats between the Bowlers, Buckets, and Vikings level 30 plus. I know there were a couple of people that were asking about that because of the name and there's the tab in there to check to see the traits you're missing. Um, it's just for those like specific types of hats. So it doesn't include the regular caps, backward caps, and captain and a few others that are in there. So just so folks are aware, because I know some people were giving us some stuff for it. And I was the same way because I actually only have two. Um, I think buckets, if I'm not mistaken, on my one profile. So I had to figure out what I was going to do for that. And let's see. Yeah, I think let's I'll jump to the chest updates. So we decide. I mean, we've been doing quite well as a project. I think a lot of people have seen and have posted on Twitter and posted in Discord and all that kind of fun stuff. It's the one reason why we decided to do a bigger raffle for this month as well, is just because it doesn't make sense for us to not kind of grow the rewards as the project itself is also growing. And so we went back, looked at the numbers, and decided to kind of bump up our rewards that we give out. And again, just to kind of keep in mind, like we kind of do it almost on a rolling 3 month average. So we look at the past 3 months and then kind of modify based off of the information we see in there. So really that's to say, as long as we're kind of growing on a trajectory, you can kind of expect the rewards to kind of go up, based off of how we grow. And we also did get feedback too from folks for adjusting the 10 soul prizes just because they're so rare, to like bump up the half soul prizes, with the same amount being emitted per week, the amount of soul being emitted per week, of course. And so, having said all of that, modified the rates. So if you want to, you can check them out on our redeem page. Maybe I'll just like scroll through it just to show people, or at least to mention on the soul side what those come out to be. But 10 soul's been removed. We bumped up half a soul. So there's in total about a 10% chance of winning soul from a regular chest and 25% in raid chests. So quite a quite a big jump from from how it was beforehand, but that's just it's just based off of how we're growing. So it's uh, it's been pretty awesome to see, to be honest with you. Like I'm happy that we're able to increase them. I think that might also create a little fuel in the fire for how price action has been on Foxes. But that's just how it makes sense from what we've created, right? It's looking at it from like a business model, if a business brings in more money, they have higher dividends or what have you. So it's fairly similar, albeit quite a bit different, but that's really how we run Foxes. Um, so yeah, so again, you can check them out on the redeem page. Like I said, when I do a screen share to give out some chests for us, I'll certainly just point them out what the percentages are on there. But you know, shout out to the community and for how well we've been doing. It's been a little while that we've been out, but it's been a pretty awesome 14 plus months so far. And then our second to last update worth mentioning, the next one of one Foxy auction. So we've got Joyce Liu to create the next Fox. Um, the Anarchy Fox is the title for it, and Brink has done a great job. For anyone that um, didn't get a chance to poke around and check out our portal's main floor, it's smack dab in the middle. You can't miss it, and if you miss it, I don't know how you miss it. But you can also see it in our announcement, and of course when it goes live. But it's super cute. I just yeah, I love the aesthetic of it. I think it'll break our previous high from a mount standpoint for the auction, but we'll have to see. So shout out to Joyce, amazing talents there. Um, and yeah, I guess the last item that we have is our November raffle. So I know we had listed it of being over 500 soul. I think at the end of it, I think it was at least 600, if not more, with the added couple of prizes that we threw in there, just because of appreciation for most of the prizes that we had gotten. So just a shout out to everyone that had won. The way we set it up, just so that folks are aware, because I know people were kind of asking questions about it, mainly because I don't think they were like reading the announcements, which is perfectly fine. We set up a normal raffle on our raffle
Come on, buddy.
page.
What are you
Um,
doing? Up or down?
oh,
Go.
looks like I got
Coming up or going down?
somebody isn't on mute. I'm gonna mute you, Rob. Um, But anyway, so the way we set up as a normal raffle. I mentioned in the announcement too that as a caveat that the person that won that raffle, we would send them the first Fox on there. So that's the ivory bucket hat with the blue hoodie, and so that's what we did. So once the raffle went and everyone saw that there was only one winner, they were like, "What, they want everything?" And so I was just messing around with people. But yeah, then in Dev's normal Dev fashion, he flooded the events page. So if you wanted to go through and check to see if you won, you would have gotten the prize already. But if you wanted to scroll through and see who had won and Dev's humor, uh, it really cracked my wife up for for the Claynosaur, just the way that
Amazing.
just the way that Dev is, which is fantastic. Um, but yeah, huge shout out to all the prize winners. Again, it's just one of our more fun things. We actually almost sold out. I think the total was awfully close. I think 300 or so tickets left, which is interesting. We weren't planning on pricing it like that close. In all honesty, I figured we probably would sell half, but we almost sold the full lot, which is pretty awesome. So just a shout out to folks that were interested in buying in, and again a shout out to the folks that did in fact win. And I don't know if I mentioned it. I think I skipped over that we had a new chest reward included, and that was live for the chest that people were opening yesterday. We have a 5K fame token, so it's just based off of the natural growth of Foxes with fame over the history that we've existed with fame in our ecosystem. It makes sense to have an additional reward that's higher than 1K fame, just because as Foxes grow, 1K fame becomes less and less valuable. So it's the same reason for the Questive that's active this week, you'll get 2 fame tokens for a tweet compared to 1. You might ramp that up. I have to be careful. I think if we do too much on the on just the Questive front, that I just get worried that people will like try to do scams. I'm gonna have to like comb through and spend hours like just checking through and validating all of the individual people that post for it. So hopefully for the amount of effort that it is, it's worthwhile. And if that ever changes too, DM me, let me know, ping me in chat, whatever. I mean, if you guys don't think 2K fame or what have you is worth your time for a Questive, I'm always open to suggestions to make it work. But But yeah, that was a long bit of updates. Let me just double check on my portals. Portals looks good. All right. Not sure, Robert G, if you're back. I'll let you actually maybe shoot a message. Let me know you're back if you're able to mute yourself because I do have use server muted. Just off of earlier. But yeah, I'll open it up for questions if folks have any and every kind of question you could think of, and it doesn't have to be Foxes or NFT related either. Got quite a few people in here too, which is dope. So I appreciate everyone showing up on a Sunday night when I know it's mostly convenient for me once our baby's asleep. It's the main reason that I go for the later time slot if I have to. Mornings and noons can be iffy. Let me jump in, chat on VC. Let's see here. Let's see. Any questions? Oh, I should say ping me too if you do throw a question out. Let's see. Let's see. All right, you guys are just messing around here. Yeah. Can we? Someone asked, can we have a banner airdrop for Christmas, like the anniversary? That's a good question. I haven't thought too much on that. But yeah, maybe we'll ideate on it. It's definitely plenty of time between now and then. I'll see what Dev thinks. The one thing that's worth throwing out, I'll throw out. How many things of alpha can I throw out here? I mean, what's our VC
How many
chat?
people are on here?
What's that?
How many people are on?
That's a good question. How many people are on? Like 30-ish. We got 22 in portals, which is pretty good. Probably have about maybe 40 in VC. All right, I'll give I'll yeah, I'll give a little bit of alpha. I mean, it's not going to be a surprise to people, but me and Poetically and Nuneman as well. Nyaman, sorry, Nuneman. Brink's gonna nail me for that one. Have chatted a bit over the past month and a half, and so we're gonna test the waters by doing a famous Fox Coffee branded bagged coffee thing through White Duck Espresso. So it's kind of like a partnership that Poetically is helping out with. So we should have like an order page and all that kind of fun stuff set up in the not so distant future. And you should be able to get it before Christmas. So that's my hope. I at least hope to be able to buy some to give to family and some friends because I think it'd be kind of a cool gift. Not super expensive. I think we're in like the 16 to 20-ish dollar range per bag. And the main thing was that he had done a drop in September where he was accepting both Soul and Foxy. I think we might have to be careful of accepting both Soul and Foxy, so we'll probably end up doing it just for Soul because he's primarily taking on the responsibilities for doing all the things. Um, and we can't peg like a Foxy price to Soul. I think if we had a way to just convert it from Foxy to Soul in the actual transaction, so then that way it can all be done in one shot. I don't think that's a problem, but I think setting a fixed Foxy price and a fixed Soul price, like we wouldn't be able to do. Um, so I think it's gonna be pretty cool. The the artwork's amazing for it, and I think people will love it. If nothing else, to kind of maybe like a special edition type piece or what have you. So keep an eye out for that. Uh, I'm not sure again when we can start opening the orders. I'm not sure. He might be waiting for him to get like the first bag to post pictures, or if he wants to do like a mocked up design first for ordering. But just want to put that out there for folks because that could be something to help um, reduce Christmas shopping, which would be pretty sweet. And then the second piece. What was the second piece that I wanted to talk about? The second piece escapes me, man. I should have written it down. Well, I'll keep it there for right now. Let me just see what the questions are that go through. Trey, did you get 103 tickets? If so, how many things did you win? I don't know if I noticed. You won zero? Damn. Yeah, I won nothing. Between me, my wife, and my sister, we won nothing as well. So, and I'm not sure what our total ticket count was. Probably close to 100, yeah. Um, Another question, do we plan on allowing rare chests to be raffled at some point? If the price gets higher, three sold right now for one. If they got to like five plus might be interesting in raffling. Uh, that is an interesting question. Haven't considered it. I think right now, as it stands, chests are tokens, so it might be a little tricky to do. I mean, it's really no different than trying to do it for an NFT, but it's just verified based off a specific token address. Just would have to kind of maybe ideate on if that would potentially open up a can of worms. We actually we actually started to, for folks that are familiar. Function had reached out because he was interested in raffling off a honorary DGOD that he got, and someone else had reached out too. They're like, "Oh, I got an honorary, I think DGen Ape," and so I think we've opened up a can of worms with at least approving the DGOD. I'm not sure where we stand right yet on the Ape, um, for people raffling it. But that's a good question, Trade. We'll talk about it to figure out if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, as of right now, we hadn't even thought about that for allowing them to be raffled, but that's interesting. When Yeoman animated Fox series, seriously though, yeah, it's I mean that would be something pretty cool. I think if we wanted to do something like that, it would either have to be like through a bigger studio that might be interested in doing it, which again we wouldn't be against. I think it's more so finding the right connection there. Um, to which like there have been folks that have like not necessarily reached out to us specifically, but that we've been kind of trying to hunt down, or uh, doing some kind of like a like raise or something like that, like for that specific venture, which I don't know if we want to get into that quite yet. So it's definitely something in the back of our minds. I wouldn't say never. Was there a comment? No? Okay. Uh, wasn't sure. I'd buy a bag. Yeah, I'm planning on getting like, I don't know, 10 bags or so, just to, like give them out to people. I mean, it's something cheap enough, and I don't remember how he's handling shipping, but I think if it's paid shipping, it's easier just to buy a bunch. Uh, Chest balance between FF and TFF is gonna happen this year. We are so I'm in the middle of drafting up what that proposal looks like, DC, to put it out there for a vote. I think it's important for something like that to at least go through a vote. And what I would say too is when we do draft that up for a vote, I think the one critical piece to it is that it definitely is always open to opinions, and if there's enough people that that want like maybe like a slight tweak here or there. Like there's always ways that we can modify it. Like obviously we want to get to like a good balance for sustainability and growth. So like that's kind of the main reason that we even brought it up as far as the conversation piece goes. But that's a long way of me saying that um, I would love to get that to a vote and at least an approval or denial prior to the end of the year. I don't know if the implementation will be executed before the end of the year, but I'd at least like to get that proposal out for a vote. Allow SPL token raffles. It's funny you say that too. There were people that were commenting today on someone that has I think one Foxy listed for two Foxy. So I think we have to remove the ability for you to list Foxy for Foxy because that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so that's good opinion, Spoopy. I appreciate that. FFF playing cards. I mean, it would be interesting. There was a project that I had talked to not too long ago. I'm trying to think of what the name of the project was. I think they were on the Wax chain. I think they were like the largest trading card, or at least digital trading card NFT game. Splinterland, I think that's the name of the project. So I was talking with the creator of that. I actually got a card from him too, which is kind of interesting. So, I mean, there's a ton of different kinds of business models I think you can leverage with IP similar to what we already have, which is pretty fun. Book, comic, animation, yeah. Did I fall out of portals again? Yep, sure did. Sorry about that. Yeah, and it's gonna be coffee with three Fs, obviously. That's the fun part about foxes, you know what I mean? Like there's just a added level of I would say like not super crazy thinking behind branding, flip, raffle. It just works well of just having that third F to, I mean, flip, of course, yeah, extra two, but it just works from a branding standpoint. Yeah, right. Let me jump in alpha. Oh, okay, poetically. I threw in the front design for the bags in alpha chat. Oh yeah, and that's right. He got stickers for it too. So if anybody wants to check that out, it's in alpha. But I got pinged somewhere in here. Let's see. Sophia very well. Yep. All right, and I'm probably doing this out of order, only because I'm scrolling from bottom to top. Biscuit question. Clear fox rented cannot get on a raid, but any fox rented for a mission gets a chest. Uh, they do as long as you send them on a mission that's going to get you a chest. If you, I don't remember if Dev had patched the ability for you to rent a fox that's able to do a mission, but then use it for a fame only mission instead. If you use it on fame only, it will not get a chest. Um, just to clarify. But if it goes on a regular mission, then the person that rented it will get the chest. The person that lent their fox just gets the fame and the foxy that they ask for or request. Brinksmas tree. Brink, are you sitting on the Christmas tree? I don't know if I looked up there to see. It's funny. I feel like there was a third ping, but I don't. Maybe it was. I think it was two pings from Poet. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through Alpha. You guys talk a lot in there. In a good way. Alright, where do I buy coffee? Guys, listen. I know I gave you guys a little bit of alpha. He might not be ready yet. Yeah. Sorry, poet, if this adds pressure on you. I did not mean that. It's like 3 weeks out, so some people just have to know for planning purposes. All right. Mons, you're so funny. I should have put my unmuted my microphone in here. No, I was just cracking up at Mons putting in here that FFF just falls into everything perfectly, and then he did perfectly with 3 Fs. Fox just not bullish. Yeah. All right, cool. I think that at least catches me up on the questions that I see so far. I got one more ping in alpha. Okay, you're good. I'm doing now. It's good. Good, good. All right. So I'm still open to questions, but what I'll say is, at least in the meantime, for folks, um, I might end the audio recording. I'll still record this as like a just in case there's anything else that does pop up, but I'll cut it out here for me posting up on YouTube versus going through and talking about our giveaway and all that kind of fun stuff.